So once again, this song. What's down, people? How y'all doing out there? It's Keep Hustling Ken. Back with another story time. You know, so much done happened in my life, I be feeling like I need to talk about it. That's why I named my page Ken's Untreated Trauma. Because I be holding on to a lot, you hear me? But today's story is about the time I pretty much outran the whole 7th District Police Station in New Orleans. Burnt all of them. The statute of limitations is up. I can talk about it. It is what it is. That's just how the game goes sometimes. I really did the race because I had to. Because I felt like I ain't have no other choice. Because I felt like I ain't have no other opportunity. Because I had a 1-year-old son and he had to eat. You hear me? But anyway, this is how the story go. So boom. All the young niggas in the city is getting rich. I'm talking uptown, downtown, West Bank, East, Metairie and Kenner. Everywhere, Chalmette, everywhere the young niggas is getting rich. Off of crack, X-pills, weed. New Orleans was just infested with drugs at the time. You hear me? The year was 2012. So boom. You know, I play with a little crack. You hear me? A little quarter here, half there, ounce here, ounce and a half there, shit like that. You hear me? Not too much. But when it came to the weed, we was doing bigger numbers, like, you hear me? Pound here, 2, 3, 4 pounds there, shit like that. But I always liked the weed more than all them other hard ass drugs because weed wasn't hurting nobody. I felt guilty taking crack money and shit like that because it's like a woman like my mama age might have just sucked dick for this money. Like, this raw, uncut, real. This is the streets. So I gotta tell it like it is. You hear me? I gotta call a spade a spade. Grown ass men doing ungodly shit for money to come bring it to you for a piece of crack. So I ain't really like that crack, so I ain't never hold on to too much of that shit. I just used to fuck with the crack if I needed a little boost, if the holidays was coming up, stuff like that, you hear me? But, so boom. It's like, right after Thanksgiving 2012, we going into December. Boom. My brother had just pulled off some wild shit. An armed robbery and carjacking. He in the old parish doing his little time, well, awaiting trial at that moment. So boom, directly after he did that shit, like a week later, 2 weeks later, boom, the people kicked my door. Straight out the window. You hear me? I had a little chick I went to school with. And if you out there, I apologize. We was young. I ain't mean for shit to go that way, but fuck, I was in that life. And in my defense, I took you out on a date. You was riding with me that whole night. We pulled up to my house. And you was a good girl. And I knew you wasn't about to do the things I wanted you to do that night. So I'm like, man, I want to take you home. You like, no, I don't want to go home. I want to stay with you. I'm like, nah, you need to go home. Like, please, I don't want to go home. I want to stay with you. In my mind, I'm knowing she not about to bust down. I already know that. You hear me? But I end up letting her stay with me anyway. We talk, we get in the house, we lay down, we talk. I end up falling asleep. My sister-in-law, my brother baby mama was pregnant. And she was staying, all us stayed together. She had the house hot as fuck that night. Like I said, this like late November, early December. She had the house so hot. I'm talking about extremely hot. With the heater was just on fucking hell that night. That shit felt like the devil's living room. So My bed was right by the window. I cracked the window a little bit just to let that little cool air come in because she had me sweating in that motherfucker. And at this time, like, I was drug free. I ain't never really done no drugs. Like, majority of my life, I was drug free. If I was ever fucking with something, it was probably just a little weed, but I used to really hustle. Like, I used to tell myself, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta be mind, body, soul. I gotta give everything to the game. That's just how I felt being young, and I had a kid to feed. I was only 19 years old. So I cracked that window to let that little cool air come in. As soon as that cool air start hitting me, I go to sleep on no girl. I'm talking about I'm in that bitch snoring. I wake up a little bit. You hear me? She ain't on what I'm on. Not even worrying about her. I should've took her straight where she needed to be. But I went against my better judgment. So about 4:45, 5 o'clock. Somewhere in between 5 and 6 o'clock, I hear N.O.P.D. search warrant. Boom! They kicked the door straight the fuck in. By the time, I don't know, it was something beyond me. Till this day, I feel like I didn't react myself. It was like something hopped inside of my body and reacted for me, because it was like this. I was asleep, but when they started screaming, I heard them. They said, N.O.P.D. search warrant. So by the time they was kicking the door, boom, I'm already on my way out the window. I had done slid it up because I had the window crack. I slid it up. I jump out the window, and this is why I say it was something beyond me, because when I jumped out the window, I landed head first. Boom, hit my face on the ground, and it was so cold outside. That's when I woke up. I'm like, oh shit, this really happening. I had enough time to look forward. I seen police cars parked all on the slant. I see police running in the streets. I look behind me. I see police in the backyard. I hop over the fence. Gone. You know, I'm running. I'm out of there. I'm looking back. I see a police at the beginning of the block. But I'm like in the middle of the block. He can't catch me. He could try. I got him by a half a block already. He tried. But you hear me? I dipped on him. I hit a fence. But when I be running from, well, when I was young, I'm a law-abiding citizen these days. And the statute of limitations up. I done been to court. They threw the case out. You hear me? So I could talk about it. When I was younger, running from the police, I never wanted to hit chain link fence. Like them little iron gates. No, that's not the one you jump. You jump the privacy fence, the wooden one. Because once you on the other side, they can't see you. And you jump as many of them motherfuckers as you can find. So I hit one. Now I'm in these people's yard. I'm running. I look behind me. I'm waiting on him to come across the fence. You hear me? I'm running. I hit another fence. I'm looking behind me. He never came across the fence. Now I'm like 2 streets over from my street. I'm like, I'm good now. You know, they got a lot of people outside, so I'm walking now. I never had no shoes on either. I jumped straight out the bed. I got nothing but socks on. And I usually don't sleep with socks on, but I don't know. I was feeling different that night. But, so now I'm walking down the street with just socks on. Boom. I hit Chef Highway, walking. I goes by my people, tell him what just happened. Tell him, man, I need a pair of shoes. This nigga had nothing but all nice ass, clean ass, fresh shoes. He didn't want to give me a pair of shoes. I'm like, son, I'm not trying to rock your shit to the club. I'm in a situation, nigga. He gave me the shoes. Like a size 11. I wear 9.5. I put them bitches straight on. You hear me? I called my people to come get me. They came, got me. I laid low by their house for a few days. Then I took off by my partner house. My partner house uptown. You heard me? And I stayed by my partner till like right before Christmas. So I want to say I stayed by him for almost a month. I left from by him. I went by my other partner house and he held me down. Shout out to him. My little partner who gave me the shoes. Next time I see this nigga asked me about them motherfucking shoes. You serious, dude? all that shit y'all slinging in the hood, nigga gonna ask me about them motherfucking shoes, but it's all good. I ain't doing no tripping. And this shit was years ago. I mean, this was back in the Gap. You hear me? I was young. I was 19. You hear me? My son was 1 year old. And I ain't know no other way to provide for him because McDonald's wasn't cutting it. It wasn't worth spending all that time away from my son to barely be able to feed him. They ain't had no real job opportunities in New Orleans. And I'm a determined type of person. Anybody that know you will tell you, dude chases dreams for real. And I get my hustle on legally these days. But, you know, it's like it wasn't no opportunities for real. And you watching your friends and the other younger guys in the city, you watching them get rich off of, you gonna go with your move too. You heard me? It was all a learning experience. And like I said, the statute of limitations is up so I could talk about it. But, dog, I was the hottest nigga in the East for at least about 90 days. Them bitches was on my trail. But, you know, this part 1 to the story. I might lay up there and tell y'all part 2 one day. But, you know, we just gonna leave a to be continued on this one. I appreciate y'all rocking with me. You heard me? Like and subscribe my channel. I ain't doing all that pretty intro shit. This is just straight up real. This is therapeutic for me. You heard me? This is my therapy. You heard me? Shout out to y'all though. Ken's Untreated Trauma.